Hi guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Skulduggery Pleasant Playing with Fire by Landy, which is the second book in the Skulduggery Pleasant series. So obviously don't watch this review if you haven't read the first book. There's not going to be any spoilers or anything like that for this book. Obviously, you know, if you haven't read the first book, it's going to probably spoil some of the aspects of that. So just some words of caution, I guess. So, everybody thinks the world is kind of safe with Seraphine dead, but a new threat kind of is an issue and has arisen in this book. So Baron Vengius has escaped from prison, and he and two other like notorious murderers, killers, whatever you want to call them, Dusk and Sanguine, are attempting to kind of bring back an unearthly creature that can really ruin the world as they know it. Obviously Skulduggery and Valkyrie, I think that's how you say it, Valkyrie, are the only ones that have just the smidgen of a chance of stopping them. Now I gave this book a 2.5 out of a possible 5-star rating. Just want to make one thing clear, although that might sound a little bit so-so to some of you, I think it's best to keep in mind that overall I did enjoy this book. Like I had a nice experience reading it. It kept a lot of its humour. I almost forgot how funny Landy can be in his writing. So I'm glad that it kept that. It kept the continuous pacing, you know. It was an enjoyable book. But I guess because I had just come out of reading The Spooks Battle by Joseph Delaney, which have kind of similar themes, and also I enjoyed this more, maybe that's what kind of made me, I don't know, bring down my rating a little bit. Anyway, there's some other reasons I'm sure you'll find out for the rest of this video. So we do have quite a few new characters in this, and I won't mention names or anything like that, but I just felt like there was such a lack of character development. Like, other than Valkyrie herself, not much was going on in terms of characters really. So that was one flaw for me, and if there's not enough character development in the book, it's kind of just left me with a sense of, do I want to know more about them? Because I haven't been given enough improvement on their characters, so do I care what happens to them either way, you know? So that's kind of the sense I was getting just a little bit throughout this. As well as that, another major flaw was the fact that I felt like there was a lot of inconsistency in this story. One example was there was a revolver, and all of its bullets were gone. It sounded like it was finished with and there was no kind of any hint at it being reloaded or anything like that, and then it was kind of left out of the way. And then in another scene, those same revolvers, well, I'm assuming they're the same revolvers, were then in use, and they had bullets in them, they were freshly loaded, and I'm like, this wasn't explained, you know, there wasn't any connection between the two events, but I don't know, it was just a bit confusing. Another flaw, but they're all pretty major, so that's kind of why, you know, I gave it the rating I did. But yeah, another flaw was that I kind of had a lost sense of direction. Sorry if I keep comparing these, but I did read them like straight after each other, and they did have similar themes, so yeah. With both of these books, I actually felt that at one point a location was close enough for conveniency, and for another point it was like, it felt like a world away, so I was really confused, particularly in this, because this is what we're talking about today, about where certain locations were. And maybe it would have been helpful if there was a map, or I guess because it's mostly set in like a present day kind of, I don't know if all these places are based on real places or if they are real places indeed, but maybe they just assume that you know the area. But anyway, that's not the case for me. I was confused at where certain places were. Sorry if that sounded confusing, I hope you understood what I was trying to say. Yeah, so just the last thing I want to say in terms of negatives. I know it sounds like a really negative review, but as I said, please remember, I did enjoy it. Generally speaking, it is a fun series. It was really kind of slow going for me, not in terms of like pace of the plot or anything like that, but more in terms of me wanting to reach for it or not. Like, I could go, like, I felt like days without picking this up. But I mean, in saying that, when I did pick it up and when I was reading, I felt like I could read loads at a time. So it was kind of a weird feeling I was having there. As I said, the plot was still quite good, nice and steady, and, you know, full of what I wanted for a Skulduggery Pleasant book. It was just my pace of picking it up to read. Anyway, on to the good stuff. I was actually very shocked but very pleasantly surprised at the level of graphic violence that was in this. A lot of things I was cringing at, and a lot of things I was like, oh my gosh, is this actually being written? Am I reading this right now? But I loved it. I loved kind of like the darker undertones that it had, and you know, the darkness and just the violence that was embedded in the writing. Does that make me a crazy person? I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Although I said about the character development kind of lacking lustre, I do think Valkyrie was really well developed. You see a lot of scenes with her kind of battling on her own, and even though Skulduggery does seem to turn up at the right time in quite a lot of situations, you do get to see her independence a bit more, I feel, and you do get to see a little bit more of her as a character. Tanith as well, I just want to quickly mention, I really enjoyed her. If you decide to read my Goodreads review on this, I go into a little bit of detail about an example of her being funny. If you want to read that, I don't know. But I think she was my favourite, or one of my favourite characters in the first book, and she definitely stayed my favourite character in this book. So yeah, I really do like Tanith. Yeah, that's my review. It does seem a little bit all over the place. Sorry about that. I feel like as I'm filming this now, I feel like I haven't done a video, especially like a book review, in quite a while, even though that will make no sense to you by the time this is uploaded, because you're probably seeing loads of book reviews and loads of videos. But yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit out of sync a little bit. But yeah, that's the end of this review. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall speak to you next time. Bye bye.